Good evening, friends. Welcome back to the last and concluding session. This session is themed on caste, gender, and religion, an intersectional approach. Professor Sukhdev Tharat was to be here with us, but he could not come. First of all, I'll request the chair for the session, Professor Ajali Oniyumai, Head Center for the Study of Social Exclusion from University of Hyderabad. I request Professor Kancha Elias to join in the guest. I also request Dr. Sabana Kesar from Department of Women Education, MANUU. I request Madhu Chandra from All India Christian Council. Please join on the dais. And I also request Tawqir Ali Sabri, if you are okay, right. So, without taking much time, we'll have this session. Friends, Dr. Sabana Kesar, I'll introduce all the panelists quickly so that chair can take over. Dr. Sabana is an assistant professor in Department of Women Education at our university, Maulana Azad National Urdu University. Her PhD was on modern feminism and Muslim women in Islam, a critical analysis, giving her an edge of working in this area for quite a long time. A dedicated, resourceful, and innovative academician offering many years of well-on teaching experience over the last 1.5 decade in women studies at MANUU. She holds the knowledge across the domain of women studies. Her thrust areas include women empowerment, legal rights of women, media and women, status of women in India, etc. She is actively involved in activities and initiatives taken for promoting women rights and has also been participating at national and international level. She has a couple of publications which is well reviewed and in reputed journals. She was also gold medalist at her graduations and PG level. We have very few uh, uh, colleagues in the university who is purely trained in women studies. Dr. Sabana is one of them who is teaching in the department. I welcome you, Dr. Sabana, in this panel. Mr. Madhu Chandra is with a national administrator with All India Christian Council. He hails from Manipur, currently residing in Hyderabad, along with a lot of other responsibilities. He was founder and former spokesperson of Northeast Helpline based in Delhi for a couple of years. He also did masters in leadership and management, specialized in organizational behavior from Brickrest College and Seminary, Toronto, an extension program at Hyderabad during 2000 and 2004. He also thought of pursuing PhD program and perhaps he dropped for some time, which was basically studying, developing a model for Christian NGOs tackling the human trafficking in 2010 and 12. I welcome you for this session, conclusion. Thank you so much. Who doesn't know about Professor Kancha Ilaya, and who is there who either person likes him too much or maybe criticizing too much about his writings. But Professor Kancha Ilaya is one whom we cannot ignore studying on caste and inequality in the country. He is an Indian political theorist, writer, Dalit activist. He writes in both, and many of you must be reading in English and Telugu, even today in many editorial writings. Initial training in masters in political science and MPhil. He worked in undivided Andhra Pradesh, and that was one of the important writing, which was considered as God as political philosopher, Buddha's challenge to Brahmanism, which he began during his PhD program. Professor Kanchalaya was also associated with our university at this campus, heading the Center for the Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy. And you would recognize that during his tenure, this center was renamed by the university's academic council and executive council as Al-Biruni Center of CSIP in India. And that became a lot of that brought a lot of acclaim in the area of writing and research. Uh, and we can go on introducing him, but what is more important to us that a person like Professor Elia, who is still with us and engaging with us, and he's there to deliver his views with us. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us, and I welcome again to your second family in MANUU. And we also have Dr. Ali Sabri from Rosa Luxembourg, South Asia. Since it is a concluding session, he'll also have to share some of his views and how we look for this session that we can take forward, in terms of debating in future and further on the area of marginalization and social status of different socio-economic status group people in the country. So with this brief, I hand over the session to Professor Ajay, and please carry forward, please.
Okay, I won't take much time because Professor Kancha has clearly mentioned that he has to leave early. So I think I'll make a comment later towards the end of the lectures of all the four speakers. And now I will call upon our colleague, Dr. Sabana, to take her time.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected chairperson for this session, Professor Jailu, and esteemed co-panelist, Professor Kancha Elayya, Professor Madhu Chandra, Dr. Ziauddin, and the august audience over here. A very good afternoon. In fact, a very good evening to all of you. It's been quite late now, so it's a big challenge for me to put forth my observations before you in the limited time given to me. So I'll try my level best. The talk on which I have to put forth my observations is the topic is the gender justice and Islam. Uh, we know that the very concept of gender justice, when we talk in terms of feminism, it's very different. And when we see gender justice with the purview of different religions, again, it's a different meaning. And when we apply this to Islam, it's again completely very different. So, when we apply, we know first to understand gender justice with Islam, we actually need to understand where this concept of gender justice actually came from. So we know that the notion, the very notion of women's equality, came from the Western notion in the early 19th century, which spoke about women rights and because women were deprived for many ages, uh, they were deprived of the basic rights, so they asked women to raise their voices against the atrocities which were meted out to women. So they demanded, but the thing was that the modern feminism demanded the equality of women at the cost of abolition of the basic human social relationships. I think the mic is okay. On the cost of loss of those relationship in with which the women is related to men. So they demanded the complete abolition of all those social institutions with which the women is related, for example, marriage, family, and other social institutions. And now, if we apply this concept of gender justice to Islam, it also talks about women rights, giving them their due share of respect and dignity. But the very idea of gender equality is different when we apply to Islam, because the Islam strays assertion to the very essence of marriage, family, motherhood, and other relationships with men, which modern feminism has completely abolished. Islam considers both men and women in equal footing with respect to their spirituality, intellectuality, character, and capabilities. And there are umpteen number of references to quote here. Because of paucity of time, I may not present, but few of them I would like to quote here, which emphasize on giving women the due rights in every aspect of life, be it the due rights of a mother, of a daughter, of a wife, a widow, a divorcee, and the list go on. To support my statement, I here quote two of the sayings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He says that if a daughter is born to a woman, a man, and he brings her up affectionately, shows her no disrespect, treats her in the same manner as he treats his son, the Almighty will reward him. Can I have water? excuse me, and he treats his son, the Almighty will reward him paradise. Another saying says, a man who has a daughter and he neither despises, means he never grieves on the birth of a daughter, and buries her, nor prefers son to a daughter, Allah will admit him to paradise. The very existence of men and women have promulgated the doctrine of human equality, which includes gender equality. And in a very comprehensive verse of Quran, the chapter Al-Nisa, verse number 1, which says, O people, be careful of your duty to your Lord, who has created you from a single being and created its mate from the same kind, and spread from these two many men and women. So here, Quran very clearly states that no one gender is superior to other, or not any gender is a derivative of another. So another verse from chapter 2, verse number 188, it says, they are apparel for you and you are apparel for them. It means a garment. So the apparel can be seen in terms of protecting each other, safeguarding each other's dignity and honor. So again, there are many references here to support the very idea of gender justice, be it regards to right to acquire knowledge, right to mobility, a right to inherent ancestral property, or right to give consent at the time of marriage. So these are the important rights which a girl or a woman has been granted by Islam, and the right to work also. But yes, there is a very clearly mentioned that there are certain roles which are preferably for both men and women, again, whom we call gender roles, preferable for both men and women according to their natural capabilities and interest. And but again, these roles are not made obligatory. This is the most important point which we need to understand, that the roles which are being preferably said that women should perform this role and men should perform this role, but these roles are not confined to them. They are not confined to perform those roles. So Islam emphasizes on the companionship of men and women rather than placing against each other. So the idea of complementing each other is the essence of Islam with regards to gender justice. But it's very sorry the state of affairs, because what we say in Islam doesn't reflect in our society. The very teachings of our religion does not translate in our society. There is a lot of gap between the religious teachings and the implementation of those teachings. And when we look into the socio-cultural and economic status of Muslim women after 75 years of independence, when we say India at 75, they still face considerable challenges. And being the largest member of largest minority, so still they are facing a lot of challenges. According to many statistical reports and research studies, which have shown a considerable analytical reports regarding the socio-economic status of Muslim women, I'm not going into detail of those because time doesn't permit me to do so. Just to mention in very brief, the report of NSSO, and the Such a Committee report, which provides a very broad spectrum of investigation into the socio-economic and cultural status of Muslim women. The findings of the report emphasizes that Muslim women are at a double disadvantaged position with a low level of education. Muslim women are educationally backward, economically vulnerable, and the dropout rate among the Muslim women is significantly higher compared to other women and with their male counterparts. They also suffer the religious problems also related to marriage, divorce, including polygamy, fixation of meher, maintenance after which denial of maintenance after marriage, divorce, the practice of instant talaq, and the denial of share in ancestral property. The reasons are many. I'm coming to the concluding part of my talk. Since morning, we are hearing why the inequality persists, and we are trying to look into the reasons of these inequalities. Excuse me. So, the reasons are many, and because my study was on the status of Muslim women and feminism, I made a critical analysis of both. So the reasons which came into my observation study, most important of them are that number one, the patriarchal interpretation of religion. This is the most important reason for why Muslim women are deprived of their basic rights, the patriarchal interpretation of Islam. Secondly, the influence of socio-cultural beliefs and tradition, which views women as inferior and male as a superior beings. And of course, male bigotry, the ignorance of the society in general and the Muslim community in particular. So here I end up my observation by asserting the view that there is a need to understand uh, gender in respect to Islam and other religions too. We'll hear Professor Kancha Ilaya also speaking with respect to other religion and gender. So more and more research needs to be done on the deeper roots of which are responsible for marginalization of Muslim women, Muslims in general, and Muslim women in particular, so as to promote an egalitarian and gender just society. Thank you.
You're right on time. I think this is your phone.
No,
Oh,
it's not.
okay. Thank you for your talk on highlighting about gender justice in Islam, and thank you for alerting and also emphasizing that Islam actually emphasizes on equality of men and women, but in practice it is not implemented in our everyday life. That's, I think, is a very important point, which I'm sure Professor Kanchan Ilaya is going to pick up and debate on that. And then I also would like to say that such a committee report have which you highlighted, have mentioned that Muslim women are doubly excluded, but I would like to emphasize that they're triply excluded actually. Within Islam, within the Islamic society, women are doubly excluded, but when the Muslim women went out to the mainstream society, they're triply excluded. And I think you have raised important questions in the context of marriage, inheritance, and even in the context of polygamy, which is again a very critical issue to be debated about. And uh, and I think Professor Kanchai Laya hopefully will picked up from what you have left behind about the patriarchal interpretation of Islam. And looking forward to hear from you, sir. Over to you.
Chairperson and friends, I'm thankful to my former colleagues, particularly Farida, for inviting me here. Now, I would have really liked to stay back and then have a discussion from the question answer session, but I had some other urgent work. So, what I would do is some sort of a Tendulkar thing today. So, I'll have to bat and go, and then be a bit of irresponsible in this. Now, when this session title was sent to me, I was very happy, because how do we look at caste, religion, and gender sitting in India today? And also in the larger global context, particularly the Muslim world, what is happening around the gender question. Now, in India, Though I did not agree with the view that Hinduism was a more ancient religion than Christianity and Islam, nor was it our religion. We were basically castes. Then came Christianity in 1st century, then came Islam actually in the 7th century itself. Then there were other religions like Buddhism, Jainism, and Parsi, so on and so forth. Now there is an open religious conflict in the political realm through the democratic means. And when BJP kind of party thinks that Muslims and Christians do not vote for us wherever they are, so we will take policies to the others who vote for us. Earlier, Congress was taking a policy position that secularism essentially means that we'll have to include Muslims within the realm of policy, in the context of partition, in the context of communal rights, and so on. But now what is happening is a very strange thing. I'm really worried about that strange thing. Historically, as Dalits, Adivasis, backward classes, largely Shudras, who constitute roughly about 70 to 75% of Indian population, the women had a major problem in these communities because the Brahminic patriarchy did not want women to have upper garment at all. Till 1930, in Kerala, Shudras and Dalit women were not supposed to wear jacket or shirt or cover with any kind of dupatta or whatever you call. Their chest has to be open for them to see and do what they like. And even men were not supposed to wear shirt. And also even chappal or anything, even when they were working in hard times. And I was a witness in the lower caste patriarchy. Women were not supposed to wear chappal at all, even by going to the field. Men had a right to wear chappal made by Dalits in the villages. Women had no right. Now, this is a huge underdress problem because of the Brahminic imposition that your women should not wear dress. Then, if the husband dies, even Brahmin women were not supposed to wear upper garment, were not supposed to have hair. Now, contrast this with the Muslim idea that women hair should not be shown. Just keep that in mind. Here is a situation that you should not have hair at all after your husband dies. So till Raja Ram Mohan Rai came, Mahatma Phule came, in the 19th century, all lower caste women were completely underdressed. And the right to jacket in Kerala came only in 1930s. Now, this in contrast, now today's ruling force, the BJP RSS, essentially believes this ideology of caste. That people, unfortunately, lower caste, because of freedom, independence, constitution, written by that unexpected man called Ambedkar, all these rights have come to these women. Now we can't push them back into the old pattern. So we have to adjust and accommodate. The second most important thing is both men and women of lower caste were not supposed to enter into the temples. It is the constitutional right to equality, along with the social and spiritual reform that was pressed by Phule, Ambedkar, and some of the Brahmin men and women came along. So the right to enter into the temple came. But you know what happened with Ayyappa temple? The right to enter by the women into Ayyappa temple was opposed based on menstruation time. They can enter pre-menstruation time, that is 10 years, and after 50. And BJP RSS were very serious about it. They should not enter. And even the courts went along with that idea. It was in this context, in the recent problem, I wrote an open letter to Indian Muslims and Christians. What is this content of open letter? I said, if the Indian Muslims and Christians do not compete and overboard the idea of equality of RSS BJP, and then constantly say that this is our religious practice. What is the religious practice? They are saying overdressing is a religious practice. What is overdressing? In my view, whatever is not normally understood as dressing, with the right to personal choice. Let us say you have to cover your hair completely. When compared to lower caste, it is underdressing they suffered. Here it is overdressing. Now, the overdressing of Muslim society is being challenged by RSS BJP. Now, both of them went to the court. I am sure even Supreme Court will not change that. So what is the consequence? The consequence is girls and women will get drop out from education. So what she was talking about, tribal oppression and marginalization will increase with an ideological intent from within. Therefore, when Christianity had a problem earlier, but there was constant reform within fight, battles. Women wrote extensively about their freedoms based on the same Bible. Now women are talking about inequality based on same Quran. And we have no book to defend ourselves. The lower caste cannot defend our inequality based on any book because we don't have a book. So we have to defend on based on only one book, that is Constitution. For our women, that is only one basis. There is no other basis for us. We have no prophet. Now we are trying to create prophets out of Phule and Ambedkar. Yeah, that's our wish. Why should not India have prophets? Because they did not allow prophets to come up. Imagine a society. So in this context, both Muslims and Christians as religions are being targeted. Now, when you are being targeted, if you don't think of internal reform by yourself, not giving scope to them to take to the court or to attack, then not only you will suffer, they will use the same logic against us, our women. They will say, yes, according to our Hindu religion, women should not cover their breast. So what should we do? Women should not wear jacket. This is a change brought about. Now take one example. Shah of Iran brought about one change. Now there is a counter change. You all remember, no? When Shah of Iran was there, at one go he removed hijab. At one go he removed even burqa. And he asked Iranian women to be equal with the West, with America, Europe. And Shah of Iran has gone. I remember I was a young student. In 70s, the present, rule ideology came. They said immediately cover everything. Now there is a crisis. Hundreds of women are on the roads, dying. And today I watched a video of a woman talking about her right to choose. I was crying actually. So the societies are in the crisis today because democracy is pushed through into the religions. Its secular space has been killed. Now women are becoming the source of that problem. Therefore, my appeal to scholars, I know that it's a very sensitive issue. I know some of my own friends did not like my open letter. What I said was, Indian Muslims have to think of completely reforming within themselves, not giving scope to RSS BJP. And don't think that judiciary will change. After all, judiciary consists of human beings. Who are they? There are all kinds of ideological people there. There are no Muslim judges to interpret in your favor. As there were no Dalit OBC judges to interpret reservation in our favor, just like that. It was not possible. Therefore, caste society, multi-religious society should think mainly about Indian Constitution and protecting that Constitution to give equal freedom to women from the constitutional point of view. If you constantly bring in religion, don't forget, Muslims are 15% today, right? Even if you count 200 million, but what is the population of Dalits, OBCs, tribals? We are 700 million and more. And if they interpret their rule according to their religion, we are gone. Whom should I blame? I will have to blame Muslim tomorrow. And that is where the OBCs are going against Muslims all over. You understand? So young scholars must raise issues that, as he said, patriarchy is the problem. Now I have seen in MANUU, there are 3-4 kinds of women dresses here. And I keep quoting this as an example. There are women who live like any other so-called Hindu women. They are also Muslims. There is no problem. There are women who have certain coverage. There are girls who totally cover themselves, including the total face part in the classroom. I mean, where from this difference coming? It is coming from the home, coming from the religious, teachers. And I think, what was the Brahmin saying when they were denying a Shudra, a Dalit woman dress? They said, our God will not accept it. And even for you also, it is not good. If you want to become a normal human being, don't go through the 7, 8, 10 incarnations as human being to become a Brahmin. Do this right now. And today in that interview, I'm told that there are Muslim families which tell them, if you don't cover your hair, you will be hanged in hell through your hair. By your hair, you will be hanged. So it is that notion of getting into the hell and not getting hanged. And we were told, if a Shudra goes into temple, you will be put into the hell, and burning oil, and and there will be crows with iron nose. They will keep on. I used to tell them, let me go to hell and see what exists there and come back and write. I was a human rights activist. So you also come there, let us see what exists there. And we'll go to heaven also. And they say, you Shudras don't go to heaven at all. I used to say, my mother lives only in heaven because I rejected Brahman authority. She is in heaven now. She is right speaking. Yesterday, she was in my dream, sitting in heaven like a queen. I told many Brahmins, my mother is sitting like a queen in the heaven. You go and check. This absolute, in modern 21st century, if you create a myth like this, then you yourself begin to suffer. You think that, if I remove this cloth, I may be hanged in hell. Now, this kind of inculcation is not good for democracy development. Lastly, if India has to develop to challenge China, challenge America, challenge Europe. Today, don't forget, because of Russia and Ukraine, entire Europe and America are united. United as one unit. And if we want to challenge, my feeling is, unless spiritual and social reform is made in India through women's life, we can't innovate our own science to reject them. Without innovating your better cell phone, how do you reject them? What is the point of blaming them? Their women are innovating. We are consuming. What is the point abusing? They are imperialists, they are globalists, they are this and that. Yeah, they will do only that. And we will think about heaven and hell all the time. We don't think about anything. So this rubbish has to go from India. And that is the best way to challenge RSS BJP. Because they don't believe in science. We will have to believe in science and equality and constitution. Thank you very much. I'm batting and going. You discuss among yourself. I want young people to seriously think, read, write, and write in a nuanced way that, it doesn't become a major problem. All my life I faced problems, I know. They said they said several times, we'll kill you. I said, come and kill. And then I used to tell one example. Jesus was killed when he was 33. Do you know the names of killers? You come and kill me, and my name, where it will be, you will see after that. I said, after I am buried, I will resurrect. You can't resurrect because you will be burnt. You are a Hindu, no? You will be burnt. But I don't believe in that. I told my relatives, all my sisters, everybody, and my nephews, when I die, you bury me, and I will resurrect and see them. So the point is, you will have to do it nuanced writing, thinking, discussion at home, with your mothers, with your fathers, with your mullahs as well. Have a discussion. If they don't want discussion, that is not Islam also. Discussion is part of Islam. Debate is part of Islam. If you don't allow even debate, then you are not a Muslim. So that, or a Christian, or any religious person. So hopefully, let us have India we have to protect now. And we have to protect through women only. See, I don't believe in men's knowledge at all. Because I have one simple way to look at. My stomach is incapable of producing a child. Whereas a woman's stomach is capable of producing a child. And when India becomes more scientific, women can produce children without men also. Then this men's business will go. But the point is, we have to, and men's knowledge today is much less than women's knowledge if they are allowed to educate. They will produce enormous science to save this country, enormous technology to save this country, and enormous skills to save this country. Let us allow them to do that work freely and according to the Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the thought-provocative lecture. You have thrown so much of questions to all of us, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of discussions. And we are really, really enlightened, especially by the way you have challenged the women to become producers of knowledge and not just receivers of knowledge. And that is what I think most of the fourth wave feminists are now really, really focusing on, to make women the producers of knowledge. And you have hit the bullet the right place by challenging. And I am also really intrigued by what you mentioned, that Iran 40 years back was very liberal and allowed their women to wear even bikinis, but today they are covered. And so therefore you talked about how overdressing is a issue here in our country as well. And I think that gives a whole lot of questions in our mind to raise and debate. And I really like the way you also said that we can protect the country through women. And that is something profound, I must say, really profound. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know you'll take leave, sir. Yeah, so now I call upon Reverend Madhu Chandra to take his time.
So first of all, I want to thank Professor Farida and for inviting me to this seminar, and also the chair, my dear sister, Professor Ajail, and as a role model for all of us from the Northeast, and the kind of activism she does and the seminars, and then my guru, Professor Kanchalaya, whatever I have gained over the last 25 years, I think I would have missed terribly in my life if I would have not met him about 25 years ago. I am actually more of the activists, like street fighters, scream in the police station, sometime in the court, but not academic like all of you. But I enjoy earlier in DU, JNU, I've spoken in few seminars like this, particularly on the issues like racial discrimination and sexual harassment and little bit of human trafficking, particularly to the women from the Northeast India. But this caste, gender, and religion, since first 20 years of my, say, Christian life, I never understood. Even I didn't know I was born and brought up, though I suffered through all these discriminations from the being, particularly from that particular community and also village, but never understood that was because of the casteism and then all the religion that has come over there. And today I just wanted to, maybe I thought I will put this, my thing, just in 3 points. And if there is time, when Professor Alaya, as I can also tell me in Manipuri, if I need to stop, so that I'm not embarrassed in front of you. So just put in the 3 points about these issues. As I said, I am more of the activist, so I will put it in a little practical way. And then maybe if there is a time, then I will little tell about, because this is what I usually complain to Professor Kancha Alaya, whenever he used to have a voice from all over India, especially in this on caste issues. And I said, you need to have a voice from the Northeast also, because that is very, vastly or not fully understood. So now I think we all know the new, about the casteism and religion. I was also asking whether in the morning, whether anybody cover about this Dalit Christian reservation. So we all know, and many people are writing about the government's proposal for the new commission to find out the socio-economic status of Dalits who have converted to the Christianity and then Islam. So that is the issue right now. And this is in spite of last, I think, almost 60 years, from 2050 onward, commission after commissions, and then the delegations after delegations, and then the governments after government have assured and has given their views that the Dalit Christians and the Dalit Muslims should also enjoy the reservation facility like other community, Dalit communities. But latest commission was a Mishra Commission. I happened to be part of that commission when that was being studied in Delhi. I think they had 4 sittings. So I was there in two sittings, and then my friends were in the other 2 sittings. The first, the finding they had was in the JNU, and we went there as invitees, and they come up with a data which is very wise, and we realize if we were not there, and thereafter the following that 2 findings seminars, if we have not presented our data, we would have had the Mishra Commission's report, which came in 2007, would have been completely different and completely against what government wanted to have it. So therefore, data they selected was actually from Delhi, the Christians in Delhi, and that includes the Christians from the Northeast. Basically, most of the Christians from Northeast are actually not scheduled castes, but scheduled tribes. But that commission was actually studying the socio-economic educational conditions of the scheduled castes, not about the scheduled tribes. But they were using the data of the scheduled tribes from the Northeast living in Delhi, and also the Christians who are much better in Delhi, where those data were used, and then they try to come to the conclusion that the Christians, compared to the all other communities, after they become Christians, they are much better than other communities, both in the economic, education, even in the social status. So we confronted that is not true. Then they said, then if our findings are not true, then you come up with your findings, data. So, it was very surprising, within a very short period of time, and that happened to be during my master's study. I studied very late, so I was doing the socio-economic conditions of the Christians in the Northwest India. I was based in Chandigarh those days. So it was just after my study, there we came to we found out that the Christians in Punjab, particularly in the rural area, the educational status of those Dalits who become Christians in rural area, they have become lower and lower every year. And that was our finding, my finding, and also there was a book published by the ISPCK, the publication in Delhi. So we bought about dozens of those books, and given to all the members of this Mishra commissions. And thereafter, they changed and they come up, and we also wanted from the South India. Hardly we found any data like that. So otherwise, that commission would have been very, very different. So therefore, what I'm trying to point out here now, because why they want another commission now? because they want a report which will be very convenient to them. But they are not convenienced with the Sacha Commission findings, Mandal Commission finding, and even with this Mishra Commission finding. And now I think they want a convenient commission to find out a report that will be very convenient, suggesting that the Dalit Christians are will not need a reservation. They have already said now, don't compare Dalit Christians, Muslim Christians with the Buddhist Christians. Now they have said yesterday, and which is a complete contradictory to what the National Commission of Scheduled Castes Commission has said at that time. They said, yes, Dalit Christians, Muslim Christians, they are our brothers. They must have these facilities. That was their version. But now what central government tells is completely contradictory to what they have said. So therefore, I think in this new commission, as few of us were invited in the Mishra Commission, I think we need to be very watchful so that our voice will be included from both from the Christians and from the other minority communities. Otherwise, we can really miss that one. Second point is about the this religious minority. We all know the very next day after the independence celebration, the headlines in the newspapers, this gender, caste issues, even after 75 years of independence, this has not changed. This has not changed. So therefore, I think I don't need to speak much on that one. But since I actually handle a number of cases about this attack on the Christians and the pastors in India, I would like to little highlight about that one. From 2015 onward, we actually keeping a record. So there used to be one attack every 48 hours in 2015, and 2016 that grew up every 40 hours, one attack, and then the following years, every 36 hours, one attack, and in 2018, every 30 hours, one attack, and then in 2019, almost every day, there was one attack. So now, I think just recent ones also, almost every 16 hours in a year, there was attack in India. And so these challenges of the religious minority, actually wherever the attack on the minorities, I mean Muslims, there also would be attack on the Christians. So wherever there is an attack on the Christians, there will be also attack on the Muslim communities. So earlier, it was actually confined in the few states where we used to have this anti-conversion law, like states like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and then little bit of in South India, Karnataka and Telangana here and there. But from 2019 onward, this is completely changed. Majority, almost half of all these incidents happens in UP. Okay, and as I said, when there is attack on Muslims, there will be attack on the Christians, and similarly to the Christian communities when it happened to there. Now this anti-conversion law, I mean now we have a new versions of anti-conversion law. No? The earlier versions of the anti-conversion law, I think they failed to achieve what they wanted to achieve. Because most of the sections, they will arrest pastors, and over thousands of pastors have been arrested, and many of them are in jail, and many are going through under trials. Not even a single case has been convicted anywhere in India. Anywhere in India. Yet, Supreme Court last week, they asked all states to get a report about these forceful conversions. So there is not even a single case of a person was forced to become a Christian or change their religions. No court has convicted so far. Yet, from our Supreme Court, they want a report from every state. So it's coming up. So therefore, this new versions of anti-conversion, which I usually say is a combo, because first versions of the conversion was only targeting the Christians, but now this new versions of conversion, which was first drafted in UP, passed with the ordinance. I mean the cabinet ministers, and then later on passed by the other states. So altogether, I think we have now about 11 states, this anti-conversion bills. So earlier, it was targeting only the Christians, but this one now applied to the Muslims also. They said all religion, but basically it is used mainly to the Christians and then the Muslims. So therefore, I mean, many of the sections of this anti-conversion law, if you really look into in that one, I mean, most of them are violations of the fundamental rights. So therefore, I think from our side, it is all in the court, be challenged in the high courts and Supreme Court, and that need to be challenged. And I mean, if you really look into those the contents in those bills, I mean, I wish we should discuss about those one, like having a if you pray for somebody and the person become healed, and then the person wants to believe that God, so that is considered as you have an intention to convert that person. So therefore, having this intention itself is a crime, and you are punishable for this number of years, and impose a fine of certain amount of money. So having this on my intentions, so they redefine that sections, and even the word, uh, the conversion, the very word conversions. So they define it. Anybody coming to that particular religion is never considered as a conversions. But anybody leaving that particular religion and going to any other religion, that is considered as a conversions. So I think maybe scholars need to look at those things. I think from the Christian groups and other human rights groups look into this matters very seriously. And lastly, I thought this will be a very different perspective about this caste, gender, and religion. And we say nothing has changed, and rather the challenges faced by the minority communities in India is becoming more challenged year by year. And now, my concluding little remark would be, what would the caste, gender, and religion that we have now would look like in future? I mean, in COVID, I try to know, learn a lot about, this artificial intelligence, okay, and then the global reset, global governance. That is what they're saying it is coming now in future. So about the human O2, like they said, this human being is not, this is incomplete. There was some mistake in the creation by God. So they want to make a perfect human beings, which they call it human 2.0. And how they're going to do it, they said they have this artificial intelligence, which they said after COVID, this is becoming more reality faster than what they actually intended. Okay, so this is what this artificial intelligence. And now with this artificial intelligence and other science technologies like CRISPR, the genome editing tools, they said combined with this one, they can create the second versions of human beings that are chips put in of body, and they said it can be done with injection also, vaccine also, and that device, that the system that we have in computer and mobile will be connected with our brain. So the brain will read through this, and this will read through our brains. And what Professor Azai knows, has in her brain, can be all connected, hacked by somebody from the computer. And then I don't need to go to college, universities. All children doesn't need to study. one chip bought from the market, put in the body of the children, and then she or he can get all the knowledge that they will get it from the college or schools. So that is what they are coming up. And now they are saying it is going to come faster than what we think. Now, I also was looking about what about casteisms in the age of this artificial intelligence. And I come across some of the Ambedkarite groups in America. They believe that this uh, caste system, the caste discriminations can be reduced after this artificial intelligence comes. Okay, so corporate with the rich people, and the everything will be censored. Whoever wants to do the censure. So therefore, uh, assumption of caste discrimination becoming better at the era of the artificial intelligence, I don't think it would be, because this artificial intelligence will be in the hands of the corporate, the world corporate, rich people. Again, about I think Lord, we talk about this gender. Professor Kancha was saying, and then Madhu was saying about. So I also come across what about the gender equality at the era of artificial intelligence? And now I saw group of women, they have come up, and that will become worse. Because in the process of making this artificial intelligence, only 16% of the women are there in the participants. And they believe uh, in future, this will become worse than what it is now. And the one first impact when this artificial intelligence take place, they said 40% of the job would be replaced by this AI. So there will be massive loss of job and the unemployment. And we know now in the COVID, the worst, the community or the people affected is a woman losing the jobs. And that during the AI, and the women will be the worst victim of that one. And now for the minority challenges during the AI, I have my own belief systems, which I will reserve it, and that is little bit connected with what I believe as a religion. So lot more, but nothing is going to be better than what we see now. I think I will end up here, and I thought I will say a little bit about how casteism, how Hinduism came to, especially in Manipur, and how we are considered, whether we are, how much we understand about casteism, untouchability, and all. It exists there, but I think because of time factor, I won't take more of your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Reverend Madhu Chandra, for enlightening us. I think for professors and students, it's very important to have people like him who are grassroots workers. You know, we live in ivory tower, we theorize so much, and we think that theory is more powerful and more intelligent, and we give negligence to empirical data and empirical evidences from the grassroots level. I think what Reverend Madhu Chandra shared today is very precious. And also, he started off by his powerful story of how he faced discrimination, but he doesn't know why he faced discrimination in the beginning. And towards the end, also, he concluded by talking about the untouchability that prevails in Manipur. Manipur is a Vaisnavite state mostly, and there is a caste hierarchy, which is not as in the mainstream, like the four hierarchical structure. There are three hierarchical structure of caste hierarchy, and his emphasis on the Dalit Christian reservation issue is well appreciated, and also how he emphasized that whenever Christian minority is attacked, Muslim minority is also likely to be attacked. That is the dynamics of the present society, which he narrated. And I think We will probably take more questions during the Q&A time. Now I will call the last speaker. Pro- are you here? Yes. Yeah, Shri Taukir A. Sabri, from South Asia. I give you time for around 15 minutes. You can take.
5 minutes.
Okay.
I will give more time to audience. Thanks a lot. This is really, really interesting, and I'm really thanks to all of you for patiently hearing. I would have more happy if more question would have coming from participant side to challenge our scholars, but that is not coming. Let me just come to the topic: caste, gender, and religion, all intersectional approach. Earlier, the thinking was Professor Thorat will chair this session, and he will try to cull out of what has happened entire day for our future thinking, our future engagement of research. But he is not well, so he excused us. So we are not able to very systematically kind of Professor Thorat's thinker, scholar. He very, very subtly cull out many things and give tasks to the young scholar how to engage for future study, future research. But we do later sometime. Professor Thorat will listen some of the audio, video, and then he will again engage. I will start from where just our brother ended, like the COVID. I'm coming to slightly practical approaches of how there are kind of bigger solidarity will come with the caste, gender, and religion, and also the race, because I'm also a practitioner like him in India, South Asia, and Europe. How society is evolving, how races are evolving, how race are becoming more anti-minorities, how authoritarianism is coming, how one kind of the bias is very, very dear to all of them. So we'll have to see to them first the caste. Like this in the MANUU, our audience, our scholars would have also looked at the caste with our own prism, how equality within the Islam or in the other religion is there in not, how the interrelation within the Islam is there, or the I have noticed that Muslims scholars are shy to talk about the caste, the problem, existing problem within. So we'll have to talk loud and clear, like Kancha Alaya said, if you will not reform within, somebody will come or dictate you, like what happened in triple talaq issue. The lot of discussion were happening before. All India Muslim Personal Law Board is doing a lot of deliberation trying to do that, but that's not happened. Many deadlock were there. I was kind of closely watching from some of my friends were in the member, but that's not happened. And then what happened, the code and government will dictate, and we have to, you have to just uh, or at the receiving end you can't do anything. So why waiting for somebody's to dictate you? Like Ancha Ally, you have a provision, you have a constitution, you have a democracy, so use that. And here is the task for our youth, our scholar, to act on that, to do some primary research. And there are many issues within the Islam. Women, like Savannah says, there's also unheard or untouched issue, like the rights of the property in Muslim women. This, yes, that is there, but not in practice. That's where the family, many family are willing to do. Are there any study how many Muslim family are giving property rights to women, to their daughters? So those kind of the issues we have to engage, we have to study and look at very seriously for reform within. Like that, there's a many instances like the haq mahjoob in Islam. So once if somebody's father will die in his grandfather's life, he will he will totally depend on his grandfather's will, or his uncle will. So these kind of things we have to look at very critically and engage for the policy formulation. And Professor Thorat and other scholars will certainly help to formulate better research question for that. Other question were coming for Iran. Islam, what I have learned through the historical context in the medieval history, Islam has tradition of istihad. Istihad means engage critically, question them, and try to argue, not only imitating like this, not only following. So that was there in the past, but somehow when rigidities come, become dominant in Islam, then this istihad, argumentative parts of Islam has gone. So that's you are able to see what is happening in Iran. So that Iran was not like that. There is a space for argument, disagreement, rights of women, but we have to also look at in Indian context what is happening in our society. Two more points I would like to say. First, we need leaders from our community. Our community means every caste, religion, and we have to see that some hero. There is no practical hero in Islam in India. I would say there are many hero in other religion, like Kancha Alaya said. Uh, Phule, Ambedkar, but where is your hero? Where is to whom you can? But you can easily say prophet. But I am talking about India. Who to who you imitate to do your reform? And I will just give two example worldwide. Like Martin Luther King was a religious person. He was following his religion, but he was reformist. He done revolution. And same kind of the people, Nelson Mandela, he denounced his religion, but he done fantastic work in South Africa to fight rights and dignity of black community. So there's the many example, but people of our community, people of other caste, gender, and religion will come to challenge and take leadership for their own reform. Uh, one last point I will say, like authoritarian is coming now in reality, not in India, not in Bangladesh. I can also see the kind of the democracy in Bangladesh is not the democracy, the one party, how dominant the one party. There is no second party in Bangladesh. Like in India, what is happening? And this kind of the trends is uh, going in almost all part of the world. So who is the most marginalized in this process? Minorities who are in the receiving end. So this kind of the question we have to engage very seriously. As a Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung, we are very committed to rights of all minority groups, social minority, be it a religious minority. We are always committed to any kind of collaboration with the institutions, organization, to do research, to facilitate this kind of the discussion. We are very much not deliberating from one side. Our intention to also contributing from the audience, but I don't know, this kind of things are not coming. So it was very, very disappointing for me. I was very looking forward in the morning audience will also engage and contribute and challenge people who are giving their point of view. But nevertheless, we'll come again. Thanks a lot. And I'm very happy you all are committed to listen this deliberation, committed to this cause for larger social justice. And like I said, during COVID, the real solidarity were coming to your closest uh, courtyard. So those kind of the solidarity we need to expand to be other caste, other gender, other religion. Then we will able to see real social justice for all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sabri, for your very brief and short speech lecture focusing on the issue of women to come up as leaders, and you have drawn examples from different parts of the country, and also highlighted about the need for Muslim women to be more assertive in general. So thank you. Now the house is open for discussion for 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll have at least 3 or 4 questions, maximum 4 questions. Yes, please.
I have a question for Reverend Chandra.
Yeah.
Why are we labeling us as a convert? And
Would you like to come here?
okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Why are we labeling as a converted? Because if you agree a converted, if you are a Hindu. Because if I am a scheduled caste fellow or I am a scheduled tribe fellow, if I follow Hindu, I was not a converted. They are treating like that. If I follow the Christianity, they are treating me as a converted. How it is?
So, okay,
According to the according to the Supreme Court judgment, what they said is Hindu, we cannot treat it is a religion. So, being an Indian, if I follow a Hindu, they are not treating me as converted. And if I follow the Christian or any other religion, they are saying the converted. We are also accepting that. Why?
I think this is not this debate is keep on going on now. As I mentioned in my talk, this definition of this conversion from the first version of the anti-conversion bill, and then the ones which they have been introducing, the latest one in Karnataka, and they have not even defined all of them in the one terms. Yeah, one term. So therefore, I think I don't know. I never said I'm a convert. I never said I'm a convert until I started, getting involved in this debate. First 20 years of my Christian life, I never knew I was converted. And also this argument that I was Hindu and now I become a Hindu Christian. We were never Hindu. I am a Manipuri. She's a Naga. And we live in there. So definitions of Hindu, I mean, according to Supreme Court that you are referring it both defines as a religion, wherever it is convenient, it defines as a religion. Whenever it is not convenient as a religion, they will define it as a citizen of India. But the origin word of Hindu, if it is very much geographically, so from that perspective, I am saying I am an Indian, but I am not a Hindu.
So adding to that question,
Yeah.
of course, we are not supposed to criticize or oppose the decisions of Supreme Court judges and High Court judges. Of course, we are not enemies. We are not criticizing. But we have to somewhere understand their standard of understanding about Indian society. See, the moment somebody believe in Buddha and somebody believe in Sikhism, they are eligible. Okay, they are eligible for quota. But whereas some of the Dalit people belong to Dalit community, scheduled caste community, if they start believing in Christianity, automatically they will not be allowed. See, the point is for providing reservation facility, the founding fathers of the Constitution said that it was social backwardness, not academic backwardness. See,
Yeah.
and moreover, see the double standards of the court the ruling parties. Yeah?
Mm.
What they say, when 27% reservation for OBCs
Mm.
were to be given, they say that no, the reservation should not cross beyond 52%.
Mm.
But when the issue come up with the IIDS, no, we can cross anything. Then why don't you introduce proportional representation?
Yeah.
Muslims 14%,
Mm.
SCs 16-17% reservation.
Mm.
Unreserved 4-5% are there. Give them 4% reservations for them. Why should they enjoy the remaining 35-7% of reservations? Why should they enjoy? When the population is very few,
Mm.
that is what the young generation should start questioning this kind of
True.
injustice to the people of this country.
Yeah.
How religions comes as a point to provide reservation? For example, most of the Dalits, whoever go to the church for only spiritual happiness, after the they did not have TVs, they did not have any kind of entertainment. So Christian churches are providing them space. So that when they go to the church, no, you are a Christian, you are not eligible for reservation. So this kind of double standard should be
Yeah.
taken away and should be dealt very carefully.
Yeah.
Young generation should work.
Yeah. Just to, because of to save the time, this para 3 of 341, and now I think some group of the Christians in India every year they declared it a black day, because that was the blunder done to the scheduled caste communities by adding that para. Actually, it is a kind of threatening to the woman. If you leave this religion and go to that religion, the protection that Ambedkar has given in these constitutions, we will remove from you. And it was done. In 1950, this was done. And again, as sir you have mentioned, there is a political will, and there is a lack of the political will. Now, when it comes to the Christians and the Muslim, this lack of political will is there. In spite of commission after commission, even Mishra Commission has delayed that para 3. It doesn't say give reservation. Delete, remove religion from this definition of who scheduled caste should be. Remove that religion. That para 3 is about the religion. So therefore, I think in future, this has been fought, and this need to be continue to fight. And now again, this conversion, word conversion. Constitution gives us a rights of freedom, rights of belief, but they change this right in the word conversions so that they will develop an argument. And they have a own definition of, as long as you go out from here, you are forced or allowed to convert. As long as you come in, your homecoming is not in any form. You can bring that back.
I want to make one point from
Yeah.
anti-conversion law, Karnataka.
Yeah.
What they are saying is, if the person converted into the Christianity, it is a conversion.
Right.
If they come and they will converted into the Hinduism, it is not becoming a conversion.
True. And you can right. You can do that one to bring back by force and whatever, and it is never considered as a forced conversion.
The same love jihad also the same.
Which one?
Love jihad. Love jihad also the same.
Yeah.
Suppose if Muslim girl married to the Hindu fellow,
True.
there is no issue for them. Suppose Hindu girl married to the married to the Muslim fellow, there is an issue.
True. Yeah. This need to be challenged. Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, I think it's already 6:45, if I'm not mistaken. We will wind up. I just would like to mention that, in my concluding remark, for the first time in Indian history, the population of women is more than men. There are 1,020 women per 1,000 men. So this is the first time that our country is experiencing this. And but doesn't mean that I don't want to, paint a romantic picture that women will now come up as leaders. There's still many challenges, as our speakers have already pointed out. And also, women cannot be clubbed together. Minority women are themselves minority. Even from an upper caste, somebody talked about how menstruating and reproductive women were not allowed to enter the temple, right, during the menstruation. Now, they may be upper caste Brahmin women, or they may be women from the lower caste, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So women cannot be clubbed together. Is it not only on the basis of Hinduism, Christianity, or Islam, but women cannot be categorized as a homogeneous group. There's layers and layers of hierarchy that pertains to women's life. And as Sabana has already pointed out, that Quran guaranteed gender equality, but then it is not translated into our everyday phenomenology of life. And that is something that I think we need to continuously debate in our classrooms and also in our research. And another thing that I want to mention is how there is a kind of socio-cultural constraints, for the minority women to enjoy equality in their everyday life. Like, for example, inheritance of property, which Sabri talked about. I mean, we all know that, particularly in Jammu and Kashmir, when the Kashmiri Muslim women married a non-Kashmiri man, they cannot inherit their immovable property at all. And so there is a certain kind of socio-cultural constraints for minority women to enjoy equality in their everyday life and emerge as leaders. How many minority women are elected in the panchayat? How many women are elected as vice chancellors, for example? Or even if we look at the legislative assembly, how many women are sitting there as MLAs with cabinet ministership? How many women from the minority community are in the parliament, both in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha? I mean, the statistics reveals very, very a low percentage. So that means that there is something, a deep socio-cultural constraints for the minority women to emerge as leaders, in the society. And there is a need for women also in the academic sphere to emerge as producers of knowledge and not just receivers of knowledge from the male counterparts, which Professor Kanchai Laya have mentioned. So there's a lot to do with the glass ceiling that women face. And I'm sure that there's so much of food for thought that we have received in this concluding section on gender, caste, gender, and religion from an intersectionality approach of Kimberly Crenshaw. Although nobody talked about Kimberly Crenshaw, but the speech of each of these lectures have really manifested the intersection of caste, gender, and religion very clearly. And I'm sure that all of us have gained a lot to take it back at home and think it over. So with this note, thank you very much. And I took this opportunity to also say thank you, Jia and Taha, and also others in the team for inviting me and to take over Professor, a big person like Professor Thorat. So, yeah, thank you.
A great thank to Professor Ajailu. Ajailu is was one of the perfect person who could chair this session on caste, gender, and religion. And we all loved your remarks and the kind of conclusion. In fact, this is how we have to take way forward now. The issues discussed in the panel, and then how you brief about that. So I thank you for chairing the session and all the panelists for sparing your time. Now the day ends here with the last session of this on caste, gender, and religion. I thank everybody for sparing your valuable day since morning till very late evening. Definitely, you will have a pleasant surprise when you go out of the venue. It's raining outside. and, and that will be a pleasant surprise. We also wanted to bring some tea, but it was raining heavily. We could not go out. But I especially mention all the panelists since morning. Asim Prakash, who could not join, Dr. Parsan, Dr. Thiru, Professor Tanveer Fazal, Professor Amirullah Khan, Dr. Salah Punatil, Professor Ajay Liu, Professor Ramdas, Professor Kham Khan Swan, Dr. Sabana, Mr. Madhu, Chandra, Dr. Ali Sabri Sahab, Professor Kancha Ilaya, and all the moderators of the sessions, Dr. Abdul Taha from Center for the Study of Social Exclusion. There are family members in all the events we do. Dr. Nageswar Rao for moderating one of the sessions, and entire faculty members of Department of Economics, Sociology, History, Women Education, Political Science, Public Administrations, and Islamic Studies. Definitely CCP is always there. I thank all of you here for making this an event of School of Social Sciences on behalf of the Dean of School of Social Sciences. She was the person who could take initiative of this event without giving any thought that such events cannot be taken up on a week when we have every day so much of activities. So a big applause to Professor Farida Siddiqui, and also to our Honorable Vice Chancellor for giving all free hand and guiding us in organizing. I'm always personally indebted to all invited guests, because whoever I called, not only called, I messaged on WhatsApp. This COVID has given a freedom, and all of them positively agreed that yes, I'll come. You can't have such wonderful person around in the city to have a guest and wonderful academics. So thank you all the panelists. I cannot end this session without thanking my students, PhD students, again from all the departments of social sciences. And all of them are sitting here. I cannot name them. That would be kind of discrimination, because there are some who have gone out. But I thank you all, lovely PhD students and masters, you have done wonderful day by taking volunteerism, taking care of all the work. Lastly, they wanted me to be very brief. So I'll be brief. I thank entire IMC colleagues for making this program very wonderful. And the food, hospitality, tea, etc. cannot be arranged without any collaboration these days in universities, where we have a lot of crisis of finance. Here was the rescue by Indian Institute of Dalit Studies, and Rosa Luxembourg, South Asia, Sabri Sahab is there with us. So I thank on behalf of the university, on behalf of the Dean School of Social Sciences, for collaborating with us and giving a free hand in organizing this. We look for more collaborations from RLS and IIDS in future. So with these very brief, I thank entire members and all the non-teaching staff of all the departments in social sciences who have done all kinds of arrangement. So thank you all. Thank you one and all, and I look forward for your all suggestions if we missed anything in terms of debating, creating some questions, and we'll plan for some other events in future soon. Thank you all. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का. Have a great evening.